those of you who don't know where Algebra University is, we just landed in a new university campus. We spent around 17 million euros of our own money to build, I think at the moment, one of the best, not institutions, but also premises where you can test, try, do whatever you like with different kinds of digital technologies. One specific thing about algebra is that we also do digital art, which is not so common. So it's not STEM but STEAM. And we would like to create one roof for all people who are doing something digital. Therefore, if you are, for example, a gamer, we have a program for you there. If you are a data scientist, then you can join gamers and do something for them as well. If you're a program engineer, like some of the colleagues here, then you can do something with that as well. Inside of Algebra University, there is an algebra lab, like division founded in 2018. And we are oriented towards the projects, commercial one and the European one. So far, we applied for more than 160 projects. I will be showing you one of them. Those projects are related to digital technologies, mostly with data and AI, because we started our data competency in 2003. And we have many different references and awards. Probably you do not know about that because it's not something that you deal with every day. We are the member of Dario system for 6 years now, being a silver-labeled data science center in Europe. This year, we've been awarded for National Award for Impact in Technology just a couple of days ago. At Algebra, you have first Boston HPC appliance. Boston is the biggest system integrator of HPC in Europe. And just a couple of months ago, we've been also recognized as a member of Copernicus Academy, meaning that we have access to satellites that are recording surface of the Earth, and then you can play with that and look for some things that could be of your interest. So I saw that I'm the third speaker, so I flipped my presentation and I will show you everything in 2 slides, and then if it will be of an interest, I will be showing you how we did it. But mostly, this is what this project is about. So we've been approached by the people who wanted to simply create something. Probably most of you who are developers were faced to this situation that someone orders from you something because you are an expert, you are a developer, so we need something to support open democracy. So think about it for a while. If someone approaches to you and say, okay, you are a developer, you are AI engineer, you are a data scientist, we have project in open democracy, can you help us with technology? Okay, so, and we thought for a while, it's always about the budget, sometimes it's about the motivation. So we were kind of professionally motivated, intrinsically motivated to do something, and we decided that we can develop a system which will detect hate speech. We want to build it from scratch, and because I started working in data science in 2003, my PhD is in graph theory, so I'm full into it, or try to be full into it. I was always impressed with Hungarian language. So when we started playing with chatbots in 2010, we went to Hungary, to OTP Bank, and say, please give us some of your samples from call center, because we want to build some chatbot in Hungarian, because this is the most complex thing to do. So, and we were successful, not so much successful, but we were successful to some point. But when this arrived, we said, okay, we want to build a system from scratch which will work in Hungarian. Okay, This was like objective from our side. Okay, in order for this system to be recognized in other languages, then we add Croatian, Slovenian, English, and Romanian, because of some reasons that I will not talk today. But we wanted to build a platform with our own proprietary technology that can be used and can be improved to all 28 languages in Europe. So I hope that in next months or years, we will be granted, because we are trying to do that from European Union, to build this system to be able to recognize all 28 languages and to be presented freely to everybody who want to work with it. Okay? What was the idea for this project? We wanted to create a system from people at early age, elementary school, because they live with digital technologies, therefore meaning that if they produce some message and they forward it between each other, then sometimes the forwarder earns more credits than the one who was creating the message. The problem is if the message is insult. Okay? So you can easily create an insult if you are in a small community in, let's say, 3rd grade, and everybody will be jiggling around because we are forwarding the message, which is really an insult. So our idea was to create a simple system which can be used by 3rd grader to put the message in the system and to see. It was very important for us to create a system which could explain to person, to young individual, that something that was forwarded is an insult. Okay? So he needs to be able to understand why this is an insult and to be able to rephrase the text to make the same connotation but without the insult. Okay, if you want to share the insult, you will do it. But if we will be able to create a system which will stop the circle of forwarding and say, look, but this is an insult to, I don't know, minority, whoever, then we could maybe do something with digital technologies which is more than just technology. Okay? So this is one recent article in the newspapers, and this is our system. So you can copy-paste the text on 5 different languages. System could also automatically understand the language. It's, let's say, 85% accurate, but you can choose your language. And you can select here social media post or news article. Why is this important? Because sometimes people, when they are producing social media posts, they use some kind of acronyms. Okay? So you sometimes when you write a message, you do not use the whole words. So the system needs to understand that there is an acronym and it means something. But if the system works with the text, this is text from the article that I just showed, then it could work with the whole text. Okay? We wanted to build a system which works more or less like Google. Okay? So this is a frame where you can just click and say analyze. Okay? Because everybody understands how to use Google. You can just click search. We created this annotation in words because I will tell you afterwards how we trained it, and you stop me whenever you think this is not interesting anymore. The colors, the colors has the meanings. There are also some words that are bolded, but the system, we created a system which can understand the context. So it's not easy to fool the system. You can later on try the system and put some insults and see how it works. Okay? But our idea was just to use the sentiment analysis, the colors here, to calculate the score. And then this was the final goal, to understand that there is a hate speech target. So the specific thing about the hate speech is that you need to have a target. So you cannot hate everything. You need to hate something. So for those 5 languages, we built a kind of thesaurus of hate speech, which will be published as a scientific paper because it's the first time somebody did it, with all connections between different cultures. Hungarian is different than Croatian, okay? And the hate targets that are recognized in the community, in the society. Okay, so how we did it. So idea is, okay, to go in the direction of hate speech, but in order to be able to create a hate speech, you need to have, a methodology, a few steps, okay? So we decided that we will first try to understand the sentiment of a text, because if the sentiment is negative, it's more likely that something will be hate. For those of you who ever trained the model, you know the term false positive. So the biggest problem here is that sometimes something can be inside of the false positive, and we need to solve that somehow. It cannot be solved 100%, but it can be solved. Okay. So if we understand that something is in negative sentiment, okay, then we can automatically try to calculate, is there a precursor of a hate speech inside? For that, we need to build thesaurus. So basically, the idea is if you take a look at those pictures, and if I ask you, can you define sadness? Can you pick those pictures which looks to you like the person in the pictures is sad or happy? So, it's a kind of easier. If you want to do it in text, you have 2 challenges. First, when we are writing something or making a photograph of something, we feel different than when we are writing something. So in written form, people behave differently, okay? Especially with digital technology. So our idea was to create a simple system which will work similar to you recognizing these pictures. Okay. At the end, in the whole essence of the system, you have text, different kind of text, and you just try to understand that inside of the text there is a certain polarity influenced by a certain words. Okay. So we were able to get a partner who is professionally dealing with transcripts of media space. So for those 5 countries, we named the most prominent publications like daily newspapers, portals, etc. And the system was built at the level of approximately 10 million words per language by 60 people, native speakers, who were using our system to annotate not only the text but the context as well. And it lasts for 3 years. We spent 2.2 million euro. Result, can understand sarcasm to some level. So we are happy with the result, even though you can try it, you can test it. For sure, if there is a response from your reflection, I would like to hear about it, positive or negative, doesn't matter. So it could understand irony and sarcasm to some point. Sometimes the system, we create like a contextual logic behind it that if you want to just create a simple insult, the system will not react. Okay, so you can play with it and see how far it goes for you to try, because every time when you take a look at something like this, you first try to push it as hard as you can. So do it. This is the idea. Let's find the negative sentiment, because then we will be able to go more precisely and target precursors of hate speech. Okay. So how we did it? We need to create a lexicon. We need to create hate speech lexicon. Go through manual notation, automatic notation, models. We try the system that you will be using if you want to test it afterwards was scaled also. This is something that we also like to do, that can accept any type of text of any size. I don't know how much text you need to put in it to crash it, but for the time being, we use it for books, for chapters, for different things. So, and it works fast, you will see. It works in a fraction of a second, even though this is an academic project, it's not commercial. Okay? We want to show not only that we can select the technology underneath it, but to build it from scratch, including the scaling and deployment. And this is how it works. So in general, these are the steps. Okay? What you do have in terms of hate speech, you need to have some targets. So we defined, we talk to the people, and we create different kind of groups. This is also part of the outcomes of the project. Grouped inside of some groups, because that helps us later on to understand how to train the model. So this could be in different countries, hate speech targets. This is just a limited sample of it. And at the end, you have something like this. You have a sample which says, a sentence. For those of you who are not speaking Croatian, you have it in English, but in general, we have in Croatian like a word, gypsies, when something is not coming in your favor. So if you like sports and something is not happening like you expected, then everybody are gypsies. So this is how it works. So the system will understand that the term gypsy was used in the context, which is cultural, and then create this kind of report, to you as a result. Now we have other examples. This was created a few years ago, but it's like evergreen, never ending. Yeah. But the case is the same. Okay. So how it was done before? People who were doing it had like a colored shaped book like this, and try to understand and put some remarks about how things develop, or how they are progressing into sentiment or hate. We did a digital system, so we put together a text. And then with annotators, we help to create a foundation for the model, which at the end looks like this. Okay, so not only every word, this is simplified, but also every word, every context can multiply the effect, and then inside of the context, depending on the parts of the sentence, the system can then understand how and when to activate some of those numbers. At the end, you have a portal. And you put text inside, click test, and that's it. At the end, the system creates a result, because it's easier to work with math. So if you are precise enough, things are working. And then this is a portal, this is the result, different coloring meaning different things, bold mean different things, yellow mean different things. At the end, when you learn how to do it, it's easier, for example, for third grader to understand the effect of it. And if you are a professor in the elementary school, you can easily tell kids, to put some of their messages that they just received in the phone, and they can see different kind of threads, and we can measure it on the back end of the project. For those of you who are interested in this false positives, this is how we put it. So something can be 100% positive or 100% negative or 100% neutral. So when you calculate the text hits the spot, and all this white we treat it as a false positive, and it was trained just to understand when it's close to the line to do a bit differently, because we want to have it more precisely. But if something is here, it will be positive. If something is there, it's negative. So it's two-dimensional space generally. This is how we simplify the result. Okay. And why we did it? What can you do with it? The first thing is because we have access behind paywall to different media portals in different countries. We can automatically, for every day, analyze the sentiment of the text in the news portals. Because we have annexed to this project, which is we are now putting it together. We want to put in the media portals like a label similar to something that you see on food. So if you have some food product, you have a declaration here which says how many sugar, okay, how many fat, this and that. We want to do the same for the news. We want to say that this is trash news, okay? And we want to build it in a way that every news portal in Europe can use it for their own language, because our opinion is if you are reading the news and you see somewhere that it could be a junk news like that 30%, you will have some, let's say, concern about the truth, about the effect, about the aspects of the news. So we are still now and then doing some kind of automatic scoring for all the countries in where we define the portals, but you can also see about that in a few minutes. Behind all of that, we have a comprehensive statistics. So every dot or box is a hit, so we can create like an interesting graph which shows you that from a certain country people are sending more or less text, and this is how we can then, for example, cluster people, because when we, for example, I opened username and password for you, but we had it for different schools, for different target groups. So we can tell you what kind of text is sent to the system depending on the group that we give username and password to. So yeah, if you record this and you will be using it afterwards, just put some remarks on the username and password, because you can use it now. You can try it if you want, but please do not share it publicly.
Yeah, we won't.
If you need it, if any of you need it, I will provide you an access, and then I will know to whom I give the access, and this is just for you today. Yeah. So unfortunately, I saw it today. We use the automatic password generator. So this is O, like O, word O. This is 0. It happens. So I should think about that to be easier for you. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. Great, Leo. Thank you for checking with me every 2 minutes if you are okay to continue. You were okay to continue. Yeah, this was very interesting and captivating. Thank you. What are questions for Leo? Okay. Do you have an insult, or do you want to ask a question? Okay.
Red flags here. Hi, my name is Antonio. I have a few questions for you. So you mentioned that 60 people did the menu annotation for a few years, right? How did you funnel those people? How did you confirm that they are not biased in any way?
They were biased.
Everybody is.
Everybody is somehow. So when we were approached with this partner that I said at the beginning, they already had a consortia. We had other countries in the consortia, but not all the countries wanted to go to this exercise. Okay, so each partner in each country, for example, in Hungary, I think it was Chamber of Commerce, In Slovenia, it was Ministry, I think, of Science. So there are institutions in each country which were responsible to find native speaker who is, let's say, not biased, who is willing to go through the process. And we had 3 people, minimum of 3 people in every country. I think in Hungary we had 5, because they were faced with different texts over time. Why it took us so long? Because people had their own jobs, okay, and they were somehow motivated, without money, of course. They were motivated to participate in the project, and it takes time for them to do all the trainings, because you need lots of annotations and lots of text. The process is like they were given first, so we can split the text in our system. So when we received, for example, the news article from the company that provide us the sources, we could slice it to sentences. So sometimes the person will select sentences, sometimes the whole chapter, sometimes the words, and it was randomly done by different people over the same text. And in order to get enough training material, we need more months, because they could spend maybe a few hours per week. And somebody is maybe faster, somebody is not. So yeah, so I don't know at the moment where they're biased. I can see the result. So what we are now doing, we are testing it. We see some flaws. I can tell you what are the flaws. It's always like that. And we want more testers, and see how this will work. Because we saw 2 things. First, that it's not only the young people that somehow can benefit from it, but also very old people. And we did one more thing. We created an API, because we saw that lots of news media companies removed comments from the websites, because under the European law they are responsible for the effects of the comments on their websites. So they removed it totally. So we created an API, and then each message, if they control their own messaging system, can go to our system. They can put a threshold and say, okay, if it's 80% of an insult, quarantine it. Do not show it out. Okay. And they can, they can play with some numbers to say, okay, because some portals are, let's say, more aggressive, so you can expect aggressive comments. And this helps us to understand better about the behavior of the people, okay? Because, people also change, the comments change. Some news can affect something good or bad in us. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Any more questions? Yeah, sure. Antonio, do you have an additional question, follow-up?
Go back.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So do you have like the timestamp corpora? So you can, for example, can you like track some word, because some words can change their meaning by the time?
Yes, we can. Maybe I can explain how, because the whole system and how we do the training is something that we apply a patent for. So yeah, that's something that it's a bit similar to large learning models, but more precise. Our problem with Gen AI, we are working with that as well, is that the result is not precise on the level, especially for those languages that we would like it to be. So maybe the combination or some kind of hybrid system is the future, but at the moment, lots of people tried to fight with hate speech, especially, for example, with fake news. We had a part of technology here which can understand the part of the text, part of the word, and then calculate similarity. So in a way, if you say that a certain text is, for example, fake news, you somehow annotate, you said, okay, this is fake. I can go to the media system in the past timeline and try to see where it starts. So this is another spin-off of the project, okay? Because if you are a politician and you put your, let's say, thoughts on some borders of the media space and ask some portals, to reproduce your thought, at some point it will become a mainstream. And when it's mainstream, somebody says this is a fake. Okay, but we want to find an origin. So yeah, we are trying to, we are playing with technology how to do that, because it's not easy. But there are companies these days that can provide you with whole media space over time. For example, we use new technologies. So it's exciting.
Sure, Vedran.
So how big is the model? Can you run it on mobile? So that's the question. So for example,
we never tried that, because you can use the mobile. You can just go here. Why?
No, but for example, if you want to integrate with the chat app, so for example, if you hook it onto the mobile and see what if you like parental protection. So if you see that your kid is about to read some sensitive content.
What's the question? Can you run it without internet, or can you run it on mobile?
So yeah, it would be probably expensive to kind of hook it on to so everybody can use it on mobile, like in a way, right? So if it's publicly available, I'm not sure how kind of.
It's publicly, but with a username and password. So
no, but like for general consumption. So if you put it on Facebook or let's say Messenger, so the amount of API calls you would get would be.
Yeah, but you know, somebody talked. Your colleague talked about the juice, about the price.
Yeah.
So this model was built by us. Yeah, I'm paying for servers. It's AWS.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah. But this is just a fraction of the let's say of the gain that we receive. So yeah, we educational institutions. So I don't have money to spend like a commercial project. We spend most of the money for people, for trainers, you know, to assure that the level of quality of their work is something that you would like to have. And about the technology, you know, for us it's maybe easier for academic project to get hardware. So I'm not thinking about that. So if I need to pay several thousands of dollars per year, it's, you know,
No, it's good. But so we're talking about the practicality. If you run it on mobile device where you actually have the app, it would be cheaper for you. Like, yeah.
You are familiar with triple helix model. So it's like companies want to make it profitable, government want to have proven solutions, and the third point, us, research. So this is a research project open to each and every one of you. So yeah, we want to have maybe a fraction of the future revenue, but this is a small fraction. We will give you everything that we do so far. We have more than 100 prototypes like this built in the past 6-7 years. That can be used, reused for different technologies. We have lots of nice contracts with, I don't know, Deloitte, Infobip, some big institutions here because they want to do some kind of research or they have something. So our last research group was aimed towards the digital medicine. We have 6 new projects dealing with genome sequencing, different things that, you know, for us, it's like...
It's not money, it's...
Yeah, for us it's just motivation, and of course, some of those things are bigger than us. So this will die if it won't be, you know, fed with some new ideas, challenged somehow. So yeah, that's... Thank you for, you know, for me being able to, you know, show you this. Yeah. Maybe we will be able to, you know, meet in the future with some other project, but
for sure,
this is how we do things, and I hope you like it.
Yeah. Do we have two more questions plus Antonio's follow-up, but he's okay with it now. Young lady in the second row.
I have actually 2 questions, but if there's no time, it's fine. First is the system able to recognize the undercover vulgarisms or trigger words like Meta is failing to do regarding, let's say, you would use a number O instead of number 0 instead of letter O. And you can write words, like some trigger words that usually youth uses in Meta.
I think the best thing for you to do is to try it. Because I think... Yeah, I think yes, but not everything that you could have in your mind. Not because of you, but because, you know, there are so many things. And yeah, we try to, you know, improve it. This is easier to detect than sarcasm, for example. So yeah, for some of the things that were trained, yes, because, you know, it's easy. You have a list and you have fragment, fraction, and that's it. The question is, can you trigger the system? Because just writing a sentence which is an insult is not enough, because it needs to be in the context of an insult. Okay, so somebody can tell me that I'm stupid, but this is not insult because I don't know. Maybe you are making fun of me. So maybe you're joking. So I cannot, you know, just by saying to me that I'm stupid, you cannot tell that this is an insult. This is why it's hard, you know, to understand.
Thank you. And one more is regarding the newsletter articles. Would you mind please elaborating a bit more about why would something be considered negative? So let's say there was an article that some politician insulted the other, and the article is literally just quoting what they said. And let's say my grandma would be very interested to see who said what to whom, and she might see the system, it would be labeled as negative, and she would think it's fake news, or she would know it's just a mean article.
Are we still recording?
I will stop.
Because I can answer you, it will be fun, but maybe it's not for the, yeah. Thank you.